Now, the Federal Executive Council must be constituted within a constitutional mandated 60 days after the assumption of office by a new president. That's according to the 1999 Constitution as amended. But less than a month to the expiration of that window, Nigerians are still awaiting President Tinubu's cabinet list. President Tinubu is expected to forward names of ministerial nominees to the Senate for confirmation in less than 20 days now. Whilst everyone awaits the ministerial list, there are calls for youthful representation in Tinubu's cabinet. So far, many Nigerians say Tinubu's administration is on the right path to making Nigeria work with its decision so far. However, a youth-driven administration is now on the front burner. Now, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Shina, Peller, a former lawmaker in the 9th National Assembly and founder of Lead Generation Initiative, an organization committed to creating opportunities for young people in governance. Good to see you, and thanks for your time. I recall then you came on the saddle on the back of the push for not too young to run then, yes. And you were one of those Nigerians who finally got into the hallowed chamber. Speak to us on how the journey has been so far for young people in politics.
Thank you, Suleiman. For young people in Nigeria, I think it is very important for them to be given an opportunity, basically because we have more young people in the world now, and because the world is evolving, with the existence of technology and all sorts, and looking at the percentage of young people in our population, I think young people, must be involved. And whether we like it or not, 2023 gives a turning point to Nigeria, and I applaud what the president is doing. He's been taking right decisions, since he assumed office. And I will plead with Nigerians, not, to mount any pressure, because they say you don't disrupt a working system. The appointments that he has done so far, the executive orders, he has done so far, speak volume of the kind of structure he wants to put on ground. And the most important part of every structure is the foundation. So I believe it's in the foundation process, where, he's putting, the right policies, the right appointments, in place. Look at the executive order for the Financial Act. Financial Act 2023, which talks about the postponement of the implementation of the changes in that act from 1st of May to September 2023. Definitely this must be done so that at least you can be able to meet up, with the necessary, you have to meet up with the tax changes, information, so before that. Also, if you look at the custom duty exercise where he suspended the 5%, for even the 5% suspension for the telecommunications sector as well, is also in good direction. Also suspension of taxes on locally made products. All these decisions shows that you have a president that is coming up, with a business-friendly environment, and also to alleviate, all the problems that our people and household and businesses are going through in these affected sectors. So, but for young people, it is very important for people to understand that being a youth is just an opportunity. It is not an entitlement. The youth of tomorrow, the youth of today is an older person for tomorrow. But we are speaking about today. Nigeria has about 70%, of young people. So whether we like it or not, they must, be put into the scheme of things when setting up a system. I've always said it, even before the 2023 election, that 2023 is important to Nigeria as a turning point. And if we really want to get that done, then youth, you must really get involved. And that is why with Lead Generation, you can see that we'll travel from one state to another, training youth on things that are very important to them, active citizenship, for them to understand their roles, their rights as citizens of this country. So youth must be, put into consideration, and the president is doing well.
Well, that's a big one. 70% of Nigerians' population are populated by young people. But again, will it be right for the president to actually look in the direction of that same percentage as relating to the population? Because many are also thinking that, look, you also have some others that should also come into this equation. We have women.
Definitely.
We have also the older generation who were also very, very out there for him during the electioneering campaigns. So how is the mix likely to be?
No, definitely he must, mix it. There must be, a considerable proportion, for the women as well. Also because of the constitution amendment. I was in the House, for the Ninth Assembly, and there's been 30% affirmative position for women. So I think you have vibrant, women as well that I think should be given an opportunity, and he's already doing that. In his list for special advisors, you've seen somebody like Anatu Musawa, and giving a special advisor, to the president on entertainment economy. So already you can see that, he's looking in the right direction. Also, you need experienced politicians as well.
I was going to ask
you. You need some experienced politicians, but this time it should be people with track records. What have you done to be able to achieve this? The president needs every opportunity to prove himself to Nigerians, you understand? And what he has done so far is doing well. And by the time he comes up with that list, I'm sure that he will do better.
So let's talk about the creative sector where you are a stakeholder and where the youth also dominate. Perhaps how best can the administration harness the potential from that sector now that we're talking about taxation, taxes, and so many other sectors that may ultimately bring revenue to the country? Yeah,
it is a no-brainer that Nigeria must diversify from the oil revenue. And one thing that the creative sector offers, is, the answer to this question. The sector offers growth for the economies. The sector offers employment even, to the youth. So, and if you look at creative industry, the creative industry is so broad. When I was in the House at the Ninth Assembly, I sponsored a motion. That was actually the last motion I sponsored at the Federal House of Representatives, calling on the president to strengthen the creative industry. This is an industry that is so broad. You're thinking of architecture, is under creative industry. You're thinking about landscaping, it's under creative industry. You're thinking about literature, nightclubs, monuments, cinemas, stand-up comedy, Afrobeats, a lot of things, Nollywood, so a lot of things, is in that creative industry.
So and truly, do people know how broad that sector is? Because sometimes when we talk about that creative industry, people always think that is just within the arts, creative arts.
But actually they need to know, because you can never, emphasize, the depth of the creative industry. And I think that is where you have the average strength of any African child. And an average African child has a fire burning in them creatively. So whether you like it or not, must even be part of the long-term plan for the president to create a ministry for creativity and entertainment and technology, or Ministry of Entertainment and Technology, or Ministry of Creativity and Technology. I believe this is, definitely going to put Nigeria in the right trajectory. And if you look at, I think it was the report in 2016, even the creative industry generated at least about 50%, contributed about 50% to our GDP rate. Looking at, every aspect of the creative industry, you're looking at what is happening in the architecture, you're looking at what is happening in Nollywood, you look at what is happening in the Afrobeat. Even look at what our various artists are doing now today. Davido, with just his album, topping Spotify. achieving feats that have never happened before. Burna Boy, with awards, Grammy, these are things that, we've not seen in the past. And this is a sector that has not been supported by the government, within the past. So I think this is a direction that the president must look into.
And, listening to you speak, one thing comes to mind, that you are still an ardent supporter of Bola Tinubu. Let's talk about the elections that are already gone and your sojourn. Why did you leave the APC if you're still very much, you sound very much like an APC member?
Yes, Suleiman. And I'm sure before I came into the house, you interviewed me and I told you how much of a progressive, that I've been. I was born as a progressive, my father and late Obafemi Awolowo, very, very close. My father brought Obafemi Awolowo to the Oke-Ogun region for the first time, in the history. And I can say that I was born into the progressive. But one of the things that is important in 2023 is the ability for us to uphold the principle of equity, fairness, and justice, which is something that I was already subscribed to by the time I got into the House in 2019. I represent an area with 4 local governments, and my area, Isenyi Tesiwaju, has dominated, the system for 16 years. So by the time I came in, I've already subscribed to the fact that we will allow power to go to the other side. So I was not meant to return as a member House of Representatives. And in our senatorial district, which has a 13 local government area, and you need to know that the Oke-Ogun...
So there was a zoning arrangement there?
Yeah, there was a zoning arrangement, and I had, to agree to it, because I agreed to it from onset, and I believe that I would not get on the seat now and I would say no. So, but looking at our senatorial district, we have 10 local government for Oke-Ogun area and 3 local government for Ogbomosho, which constitute the Oyo North senatorial district. Ogbomosho, the present senator, had already been in power for 8 years. So it was the turn of the Oke-Ogun people. And remember that Oke-Ogun occupies the largest percentage of the land that you have in Oyo State. 70% of the whole of the land in Oyo State is in Oke-Ogun, and the land is agrarian. So, and this area has been marginalized. So 2023 was a turning point for us at Oke-Ogun as well. So I had to put a step forward after leaving the House of Rep seat, to lead the struggle for us to have the senatorial seat. And definitely if we go to primaries, we have 10 local governments, Ogbomosho 3 local government. So on the day of the primaries, which was meant to be the 28th of May, that primary did not happen. And some bad elements within the party shifted the primary venue to another local government, which is against the law. And the system wasn't saying anything about that. So you must understand that my involvement in politics is not because of my personal interest, but it's for the interest of my people. And they insisted that we have to leave the party so that we have the opportunity to contest the election.
So it was a decision of your people?
Yeah, it was the decision of my people to do that. So, and that was why, we went into Accord and we were able to, to reposition Accord as a party. Accord also is progressive, and, sell our story to the people. And after the election, we believe that that election did not go in our favor because things were not done right. It was rigged. And as a gentleman, I believe the next thing to do is to go to court. So as we speak, we are at the court.
Okay, now that we know that you're in court, we'll just navigate and go straight. We've seen you lately, another big supporter of your governor, Seyi Makinde, making people ask the question, is Shina Peller crossing over to PDP?
My brother, life is all about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I always like to talk about tomorrow because about today, because that is what we can see and we can actually act on. Tomorrow is known by the Almighty Allah. But my involvement with Governor Seyi Makinde, there were reasons to that. One, the moment that we did not have the Senate in Oke-Ogun, it was a clear call for Oke-Ogun to come together. Because we have seen that if Shina Peller is not the senator, it's not the loss for Oke-Ogun anymore. It's not the loss for Shina Peller anymore. It is the entire loss for the Oke-Ogun region. So, guys, they called all of us, people from Accord Party, from APC, from PDP, and let us realize that our land comes before our various political party affiliation. We met our land when we were born. You joined your political parties with your interest. But this time around, they want us all to put the interest of Okiogun forward. And at that time, the three governors that were contesting were from Ibadan: Governor Shina, Senator Tessin Fulani, and Chief Barry Adelabu. So they said to us that what we need to do is to x-ray these three people and get who is best for the region. If anyone says that when they leave office, then they are going to give the opportunity to have an Okiogun governor, which had never happened before in the history of politics in Nigeria, with 10 local government. Then you now need to put time. If Bayo Adelabu says that it's going to take him 8 years, if Tessin Fulani says that it's going to take him 8 years, when Seyi Makinde says that it's going to take him 4 years. So with that, we had to sacrifice what we had. You understand? So for that, we have to sacrifice what we have and all come out to support Governor Seyi Makinde. And if you look at the election before that time, because you've seen, politics put you, decision in politics sometimes put you at loggerheads with even some friends that don't understand, the intricacies of politics. So because of what we did in the last 2 weeks, by having our political machinery to give support, to President Tinubu, we see that the people that caused our exit from APC are beginning to harvest, understand, from, that gesture of telling people, oh, this is where you should vote for president. So at that time, what we needed to do is to come out and, support Seyi Makinde openly. So, and the governor is doing well. In the history of Oyo State, we have not had any government that has done what Governor Seyi Makinde has done, for the people of Okiogun. We have always been clamoring for university, a 10 local government area that doesn't even have a university. Governor Seyi Makinde has done that by bringing an annex of LAUTECH, which is the Faculty of Agriculture, to an area that has the larger percentage of land, and the land is agrarian. Also, a lot of major roads from Monia to Ibadan, from Monia to Iseyin, which is beneficial to Okiogun.
And this kind of alliance you speak of, does it also include the president? Is the president aware of this? Because we've seen Governor Makinde and the president, we've seen Nyesom Wike and the president. We've not seen notable figures from the Accord Party with the president lately.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure maybe that will still happen. I'm sure everything is, is still in work in progress, But definitely, if there's an opportunity for that, everybody wants Nigerians to work. For me to leave my business that's, is doing so well and decide to come into politics is because I believe, that Nigeria is a country that has what it takes to be one of the best countries in the world. And if it's not working, then we have to sacrifice our time, business, and all, to be able to, contribute, what we have to make that work. And I thank God with what we've done within the last 4 years, and I'm still ready to do more.
And how is the relationship like in terms of the political heavyweights in your state, Tessin Fulani, Mr. Adelabu, and yourself?
I believe politics is over now. It's governance, and we should forget about, all those things. Like if Senator Tessin Fulani had not denied me ticket, to run, I'm sure I would still be in APC now. And and the governor has made up his mind, to work with people across party lines. So as the president, I've said. So I think Nigeria is in the building stage now. So people should just understand that the most important aspect of leadership is the ability to know who can do what. And if you're saying who can do what, this is the time to look for the best hands, regardless of your political affiliation or religion.
Regardless?
Regardless. And let's get the country to work.
In getting the country to work, I come back to how we started off. Let's close there, talking about young Nigerians. How optimistic are you, now speaking objectively, who is a Nigerian youth? Because when we talk about youth, once it finally dawns on the people, sometimes they say those that have been brought into such positions are never truly young Nigerians that qualify to be called youth.
So I think what we should use to qualify Nigerian youth is somebody that is young. You have even some older people that are young at heart, and they understand what is going. Because if you want to say youth and you want to use the age to classify it, you might even, somebody like me might not even pass for a youth. You understand? Because this year already I'm 47 years old. So, and if you're actually looking at for youth, you should be at least 35. So that's why I say that youth might be youth at heart, and somebody that actually understands the present situation of the world, what the world is saying. There are some people now that today that they cannot even handle an iPhone. You understand? So you don't know how to upload apps. You don't know how to use technology. You know, these are important, resources that you use to drive your environment. So I think that, that's why I said that when you say youth is just an opportunity. It is not an entitlement. So if you are using age, the younger person today is going to be old tomorrow. So in present situation of today, even when you're talking about the youth, the first thing you must put at the forefront is experience.
Well, before coming to Abuja, you've seen Bola Tinubu as a governor for 8 years. You've seen the politics of Lagos. And so give us a bird's eye view of what Nigerians are likely to see in the composition of the Bola Tinubu administration.
Suleiman, I told you, one aspect of leadership that I can use to define Asiwaju is the ability to know who can do what. You know, he's very good, at picking the better hands, to get the job done. And that is actually what you need as a leader. You don't lead leadership is not by showing strength, to run stadiums, not by showing strength. It is by showing strength, to take critical decisions. And you can see decisions that the president has taken within, the last few weeks. First of all, the subsidy removal, which is killing Nigeria, is gone. Opening our borders, which has even saved maybe I think about over 400 billion, and the country needs to generate revenue. So he's already making decisions that shows that Nigeria is going to be rich. And with what just even happened today, him emerging as the chairman of ECOWAS. Our founding fathers has always wanted Nigeria for Africa, but we've been struggling to even have Nigeria work for Nigerians. So automatically in 41 days in office, the president is already, in a position, to lead Africa. So he's putting Nigeria where Nigeria should be. So I'm sure that, he's going to do very well. And this is, everybody must support him, encourage him, pray for him. You must realize that your president, by law, is the head of your system. If it goes wrong, the whole body goes wrong. If it goes right, then too good for everybody. So if you truly love Nigeria, for every patriotic Nigeria, I think it is high time for them to pray, support, and encourage the president.
And lastly, how excited are you about the tax reforms? You are also into business. That should excite you as well. Yeah,
I'm very, very excited. But at the same time, you must understand that put the people also, in plan when we're doing this, because a lot of people are not informed. A lot of people are just like, they are going to be taking our money and everything. And this is why it is very important to strengthen National Orientation Agency. While I was in the House in the Ninth Assembly, I sponsored a bill on the reinvigoration of National Orientation Agency. I moved the motion, on the need to invigorate National Orientation Agency. Why? Because this is the agency that has offices in all the 774 local governments of Nigeria. This is the agency that they can use to inform and reorientate the public about the federal government's policy and programs. And if you look at the funding for the National Orientation Agency, the next budgetary allocation, they must be able to give more money to National Orientation Agency. In Yoruba, they say something like, means that train your child so that he can give you rest of mind. Prevention is better than cure. So if you want to do that, this is the time. The president must be able to engage National Orientation Agency so that whatever policy and programs that it is using to shape the minds of the people, for them to have that vibe of the new, renewed hope, I think can be used through the National Orientation Agency.
Shina Peller, former lawmaker, politician, entrepreneur, philanthropist, many thanks for speaking with us.
It's a pleasure, Suleiman.